Hey dudes, welcome back to the Bants. As always, I am the Bants, and it's the beginning of a new week, so it's time for another What's Happening in Fashion this week. So let's hop right into it. So starting things off, Palace released another fall-winter lookbook, and honestly, it's more of the same, but in this case, it's a good thing. Palace has always done a really good job with their collections, and once again, this is just more of that. Personally, I really like the corduroy jacket, but I do have to say, honestly, this is supposed to be a Palace lookbook. So I don't understand why the fuck you're putting so much Supreme in there. Like, it's your lookbook, rep your brand. There's almost as much Supreme in this lookbook as there is Palace. And I get what you're going for. I know you want to be the next Supreme, but come on, knock that shit off. It's your goods, show off your goods. Bullshit Labs also put out a fall winter lookbook for 2017, and I think it's a step in the right direction. Now, I've never heard of Bullshit Labs before, so I'm guessing they're a new company, and I have to say at the very least, it looks like they're off to a good start. Yeah, sure, they did bite some things here and there, but overall, there's definitely some interesting and some original ideas there, and if they can kind of push that side more, I think it'll be a brand to watch. Olaf Hussein also released a fall winter 2017 lookbook with Champion, and it's alright. Now when it comes to all these brands that have been reusing and refurbishing Champions apparel, I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, when I think about Champions, I once again think about 90s, like, early streetwear, and once again, not my vibe. However, it's always nice to see Olaf Hussein doing something new, and even though this isn't the craziest stuff he's ever done, it's still worth a look in my opinion. Nothing Special also released a quick capsule collection with Colette, and I really dig it. It's very clean, it's very simple, it's very to the point. It's not over-embellished. It's got more than just one graphic to it. So overall, for a capsule collection, I'd say pretty good job. Then moving on into art news, we have 3 stories this week. First off, Takashi Murakami just opened up a new exhibit in Buffalo, New York that's open till the end of January, I believe. So if you happen to be in the area or can make the drive, I'd definitely give that a look. Next, the magazine Architectural Digest just put out a nice little look of what it looks like in Kaws' house. And even if you're not a fan of him as an artist, I definitely give it a look if you're a fan of art in general, just because you can tell he's definitely an artist that absolutely loves art and not just his stuff. So give this a look. And finally, the graffiti god himself, Kenny Scharf, just got a new exhibit at MoMA in New York, so if you happen to be by there, I'd give that a look as well too. And now moving back to fashion, there's a bunch of new lookbooks coming out for small streetwear brands, and I want to give it a pause right here, because I just want to let you all know a lot of this is going to probably jumble together just because a lot of these streetwear brands that are coming out with new lookbooks and new styles, at least the small ones, tend to be very hit and miss, have some items worth highlighting, have a lot of items not worth highlighting. And so if I start to ramble on and sound the same over the next couple, I don't know, 6 or 7 lookbooks, I apologize in advance. So Fact released a holiday lookbook for 2017, and as I said, there's a couple hidden gems in here, but overall it's eh. Aside from their logo tees, they do definitely have a couple inspirational ideas with a couple more of the colorful prints, and I really personally like the Autobahn rip, but overall, unless you're a huge fan of streetwear, I wouldn't give this a look. Stamped and Town and Country did a capsule collection together, and it's about as 90s incarnate as it could possibly be. Somebody finally brought back the yin yang. Can we finally kill 90s streetwear yet? But in all honesty, as I said, it's not my style. But if you're a fan of 90s streetwear and 90s style graphics, I definitely give this one a look. BBC also just released a holiday lookbook, and as you can understand from BBC, it's pretty much just disappointing once again. Now don't get me wrong, there are a couple pieces in here that I think are really stunning, like really nice compared to what, BBC has done in forever, but 90% of it is once again what you'd expect from BBC. And on the topic of Pharrell, NERD just released a small capsule collection with Adidas as well, and it's just as boring, unfortunately. It's all multicolored camos, and as somebody that enjoys seeing a lot of bright and vibrant colors kind of coming back into the fold, this is not the way to do it. The camo is just really uninspired. It looks like a trashy version of something Bape would do, and I would just stay away from it. And on a quick side note, I think it's really bizarre seeing these 2 brands, specifically BBC and NERD, that are what I would consider close to Pharrell's heart, kind of suffer design-wise. Like, I know he's not the best. Like, I know he's not the best designer in the world. Obviously, more people take him as a style icon than as a design icon. But even so, he's done such good stuff in the past with like G-Star Raw, like even recently. So why is he letting his two main brands suffer? I have no idea, but I just feel like it's worth pointing out. Against Lab just put out a Fall/Winter 2017 lookbook, and as I said before, it's very hit and miss. Like, there's definitely some really solid designs here and there, but overall, most of it's just really uninspired in my opinion. So once again, if you're a streetwear enthusiast, I'd give it a look, otherwise I'd give it a pass. Atelier New Regime just put out a lookbook as well, and this one I really like. The artwork by Riccardo Cavolo is really nice. A couple of the designs are at least original enough to look at, and if anything else, if you're going to look at it for at least one reason, I would check out all the pants in this collection. They're absolutely amazing. Divinities also put out a Fall/Winter 2017 collection, and once again, it is hit and miss. But aside from all the other brands that I've talked about, I think this one has some really nice designs from the get-go, but then as far as falling off, I think it has it has the worst designs overall as well too. I mean, let me put this into perspective. If you're making a graphic tee and the whole premise of the graphic tee is obviously the graphic, don't make it this fucking big. It's just so fucking stupid. If you're gonna take the time and the effort and the money to make a graphic tee, make something fucking good. Jesus fucking Christ, man. But moving on, Livestock just put out a Fall/Winter 2017 lookbook as well, and this one I really like. Now obviously I don't cover a lot of minimal wear just because a lot of it tends to kind of just mesh and mold together and it easily gets lost among the other brands. But this brand Livestock does some stuff that's just a tiny bit different and it accentuates the pieces just so nicely. So if you're looking for something minimal to add to your collection, I'd say look into this one. Parajumpers also released a Fall/Winter 2017 lookbook, and I really think this one goes nicely as well. Now, if you haven't heard of Parajumpers before, in my opinion, the best way to describe it would be kind of like a more exciting Alpha Industries, and once again, they've hit like a home run with their collection. So if you're interested in kind of lighter tech wear or more military wear in general, I definitely give this one a check out. Nobuyuki Matsu also put out a Spring/Summer 2018 lookbook, and this one is phenomenal. Now I will say first and foremost, a lot of the pieces here aren't necessarily wearable in day-to-day life. I mean, a couple are, and those ones are fantastic. But at the very least, if you're looking for some more inspiration in menswear, I definitely give this one a look. Saturday's NYC and Mr. Porter also put out a capsule collection, and I think they did a really good job with it. The clean pieces are really clean. They didn't oversaturate any graphics, or they didn't oversaturate any like maximalized materials either. Overall, I think they did a fantastic job with it. Antimatter also put out a Spring/Summer 2018 lookbook, and it's really not good. Hold on. Where is this brand from again? Oh, of course it's a fucking Korean brand. I've seen Antimatter stuff before, and a lot of their stuff over the last couple seasons, especially their tech stuff, it was really inspiring, it was really cool. But what they decided to do with this collection is they just kind of said, fuck it, let's be Vetemons, and just threw everything out the window, and the quality suffered, and honestly, it just looks like fucking trash. So hopefully next time they kind of knock it through their skulls to not do that, and not jump on the hype train, and do more inspiring stuff like they have in the past. Jaquet Droz also just put out a super limited edition Burger Peter watch, and it is beautiful. It has a fantastic in-house movement, it has a 60-hour battery reserve on it, and if you're a fan of artistically detailed watches, definitely give this one a look. It's absolutely amazing. Then, for Halloween, even though it was a couple days ago, Hypebeast put out an article about the 10 most stylish movie villains of all time, and it was a really cool article, honestly. Like, obviously, it's meant to be satire, of course, and if you guys remember from back in the day, the Star Wars streetwear drawings that Dave Murray did, it reminded me a lot of that. I'd say give it a look, at least for the fun of it. Gyakusou also put out a Fall/Winter 2017 lookbook, and it looks as good as ever. If you aren't familiar with Gyakusou, it's a collaboration between Nike's Nike Lab and Undercover's Jun Takahashi. And let me just start by saying, if you're into running or anything like that, I'd definitely give this a look. But as far as wearing this as fashion, stay away from it. only wear it for its intended purpose, and that's for using it athletically and specifically in running. Helmut Lang also released a lookbook for their 2018 collection designed by Shane Oliver, and in one word, it's just boring, unfortunately. Now, I know I've talked about this before, so I apologize for talking about it again, but when we look at like recent or past Helmut Lang, when Alexander Pokolov was designing it, I always said that it felt like a lot of his B-sides were put into Helmut Lang because he wanted to keep all his A stuff, his good stuff, for himself and his eponymous line. But when we look at like all the stuff that Shane Oliver has done, it doesn't look anything like Hood by Air. And I think that's really kind of a problem because I think that's kind of what they hired him to do. And I think he's just being a little bit too shy about it. He doesn't want to go full Hood by Air bondage wear right off the bat. And I can understand that. But at the same time, if he keeps doing this sort of thing, Helmut Lang's not going to go anywhere. And he's not going to be in tenure that long, unfortunately. So once again, I hope he can push it forward, but this collection isn't it. The Supreme and Akira collaboration finally got a lookbook, and honestly, it's really not that good. Like with most Supreme collaborations, there are some nice pieces here and there, but overall, it's just really uninspired. A lot of this stuff you can find on Redbubble for so much cheaper. You're just paying for the Supreme tag on it, honestly, and it's really just not worth it. Like, it's just really not that well done, and it's just really uninspired. Like, if you're looking for some actual nice Akira stuff, as I said, Redbubble makes some really just crap stuff for cheap, but at least you're paying for how cheap it is. But if you want something that's a little bit more artistic, I definitely check out Wet Store. And if you guys want a link to that, just let me know, and I can shoot it to you pretty fast. Guerilla Group also came out with a 2017 lookbook for this holiday, and I really love it. I can't help myself. Obviously, Guerilla Group is kind of like the epitome of what people think like this tech ninja like getup is. But even so, their lookbooks are always super nice and super well done. And if you're into that stuff, I'd give it a look. It's so over the top, but I can't help but love it. It's just like so fun as far as techwear goes. And then the boutique giant Haven just released a lookbook for their new in-house line, and I'm honestly just not a fan. Now, I've actually refrained from talking about this on Whif before, but I've seen like 2 or 3 lookbooks for this now, and I just feel like I have to address it. It's just, I know the quality is there, but the designs are just really boring. Like, they're really bland. They could have done a lot better and a lot more interesting things with them, especially for the prices that they're making people pay for them. Because considering everything else they sell in store, it's just not that cool. Like, if you want like a graphic tee or maybe a hat from them with their logo on it, go for it. Like, that's probably where it should end. But if they're gonna want to compete as an in-house brand, like, they just gotta do better. It's just really unfortunate because I really want to see them succeed, but this is not how they're gonna do that. Mihara Yasuhiro also released a Spring/Summer 2018 lookbook, and it's just all right. That's all I can say is it's just all right. Like, he's done some really, really fantastic and inspiring stuff in the past, and although a couple of the pieces here are pretty good, it's not the best he's done. It's definitely not the best he's done. So if you're a fan of his stuff, I'd definitely give it a look, but otherwise I'd say just pass on this one altogether. On the other hand, however, Thom Browne put out a Fall/Winter 2017 lookbook, and it is great. The designs are on point, the quirkiness is there. It's just honestly another slam dunk for Thom Browne, and if you're a fan of any kind of his style, or even just kind of contemporary menswear in general, definitely give this one a look. Wacko Maria and Wolf's Head also did a quick collaboration of a line of jackets, and it is great as well. The jackets look really well done, although I do have to say they probably overused the graphic just a little bit. However, if there's 1 or 2 jackets you should look at here, it's all the Big Cat inspired fur ones. Those ones are absolutely amazing and worth looking at. Hypebeast also did an interview with one of the co-founders of Soulland and their kind of history, as well as a lot of their collaborations they've done in the past. And if you're a fan of Soulland, definitely give it a look. If you've never heard of the brand, give it a look. And if you're kind of interested, once again, in the business aspect of fashion and kind of collaborations in general, I definitely give this a read. Nobuyuki also put out an article about why haven't Chinese fashion designers taken over the world yet, and it's a really nice, insightful piece. Like, it goes over a lot of kind of the developing world that is Chinese fashion, as well as kind of their play with luxury brands over the last couple decades. And if you're interested in the business aspect of this sort of thing, or learning more about Chinese fashion in general, I'd definitely give this one a look. They also put out an article about why it's so hypocritical that a lot of these companies are dropping Terry Richardson over the last couple weeks, and I think it's nice to see somebody actually calling out the fashion industry on this sort of thing. Like, obviously, Terry Richardson has been a problem for a long fucking time, and it's really nobody's surprise, but they've always kind of kept him hidden just because he makes so many people so much fucking money. So I'm really glad to see at least one company calling them out. So good job as always, High Snob. Anthony Murato also put out a quick little lookbook of their limited edition capsule collection, and it is amazing. Give this a look for sure. There's some really interesting designs in there. It's very colorful, it's very vibrant, it's really well done. The only problem I have with it is that it's only available in Europe. So unfortunately I won't be getting my hands on it. But if I could, I would. And even though I just gave praise to High Snobiety, they also did put out an article called 10 up-and-coming outerwear brands that you need to keep an eye on, and they're not up-and-coming. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, sure, not everybody has heard of Meanswile or Ann Wander or TSS, but you're really going to tell me that Arc'teryx Valence is an up-and-coming brand? Like, are you serious? Like, Arc'teryx has been around for decades, dude. Like, shut the fuck up. Are you serious? But even so, if you're looking at outerwear pieces for this winter, I definitely give this article a look. They did also put out an article about 10 brands that are killing it on the textile front, and this one is a little bit more insightful. If you're interested in different textiles or, once again, the inner workings of the fashion industry, give this one a look. Then, Heddels put out a history of shearing coats, so if you're interested in that front, or just the history of fashion in general, I'd give this a look. They also put out a history of Lee jeans as well, which is very insightful, so I'd also give that one a read as well. Grailed also put out an article about their favorite Junya Watanabe collaborations, and it's fantastic seeing a lot of his old pieces. So if you've never been a fan of Junya Watanabe and want to learn more, I'd definitely give this article a look. Grailed also did an interview with Today Clothing, a menswear shop located in Michigan, and it's honestly an insightful read. It's pretty cool hearing about these menswear locations that are kind of isolated from, the East and the West Coast, kind of like how Context is in Wisconsin and Chain Stitches is in Nebraska. So if you're interested in kind of like, once again, the business of fashion, especially brick and mortar, I'd give this a read. Grailed also did a history of Pendleton Woolen Mills, so if you're interested once again in history of fashion, this is definitely worth a read as well. Then the New York Times put out a pretty interesting article about kind of the psychology around dressing modestly as a woman. Now it goes a lot into the history of why women have dressed modest for so long, and kind of like how it's turned into this more fashionable thing than it used to be. So if you're interested into, once again, the history of fashion, but even more so in this case, the psychology of fashion, I definitely give this one a read. Probably one of the better articles this week. Then Buro247 did a nice little article / interview about the history of Uniqlo and what goes into making some of their products. So if you're interested in kind of, once again, the history of fashion and behind the scenes on fashion, especially designing this time around, give this article a read. And then last but not least, Elle Magazine did a nice little interview with Thierry Mugler. So once again, if you're interested in the history of fashion, especially somebody that's more synonymous with kind of luxurious fashion and higher end fashion houses, I'd give this one a read. Alright dudes, and with that, we once again reached the end of another What's Happening in Fashion this week. I hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a comment or, let me know how you think it's going. And also, in a slight bit of a news update, I will have to say that from now on, we're going to be looking at 2 whiffs a week. More than likely, it's either going to be Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Friday. So be expecting a second one this week, probably on Thursday, maybe on Friday, but once again, probably on Thursday. And as always, thank you guys for all the support. And until next time.